Hello, everyone. It is so wonderful to be here. It's so long since I've done a live stream or anything live on LinkedIn, and obviously for those on YouTube as well. So, why are we here? Well, we have the wonderful Victoria McClean with us, and basically, she is going to be with me next week. Um, for our webinar, and we're super excited about this webinar. The webinar is So You Want to Be a Non-Executive Board Director, and it's about how to become board ready and secure yourself a NED role. So, without any further ado, Victoria, tell us who you are, why we should come and listen to you.
Well, so I run an organisation that I founded 15 years ago. We're called City CV, and we're a career consultancy. We're a CV writing firm, and a lot of the work that we do is around becoming a non-exec or expanding your portfolio. So we work a lot with execs and leaders in order to help them secure their dream role. I personally sit on 3 different boards. I love it. It's great fun, and it's really amazing to share quite a lot of experience in my case, Madeline. I'm quite old, with
the club,
with the board and helping organisations really be the best they can be. So it's something that I love. I love supporting our clients in achieving their goals as well. And I just really believe we should all be thinking about that, even if we might have many, many years left in our exec career, but it's never too early to start thinking about how you can add value to boards and other organisations as a non-exec or a trustee.
Yeah, I hear that. So tell me, what is this webinar all about?
Well, effectively, there's a lot of competition out there for non-exec roles, and what I start the session talking about really is the challenges that I see. I see a lot of people that are not getting the roles that they're applying for in that NED trustee space. So effectively, what's going on? It's tough, it's demanding. So how can we help you navigate those challenges and really move forward? Yeah. So, at the end of the day, we know that the reader is not going to look at your CV for that long before they make that kind of, am I going to read it or reject a decision? So it's understanding the NED role, understanding what your CV needs to be doing, what you should be doing on LinkedIn as well, and just really getting what I call that marketing collateral, your marketing toolkit in shape. But it's really hard to do that if you don't truly understand the non-exec role and what a board is looking for. I talk a lot about, you'll know this as an exec coach as well, but your value proposition. And your value proposition effectively is, what value do you bring? And in this case, it's what's your board value proposition. So what value do you bring to a potential board? Boards are looking for a number of key things. So figuring out what your value is and understanding what the boards are looking for is really important. So we cover all of that in the session.
Okay, great. I mean, I think for me as an exec coach, I often hear women saying to me, I really would like to get a NED role. I think that that'd be really good for me to do. I think that there's this thing about thinking that it's not just great for their career, but it's the kickback and the potential income as well that potentially can come from that. So it's really important that we get to understand the how, because what they say is, I'm not sure how to do this. What do I need to do? How do I get one? What does it look like? So, why for you is this so important that we kind of share the learning and the knowledge about NED roles, especially for women?
It's really interesting, something you just said, Madeline. It's about that it's the kickback almost to your own career. So if you're an exec or in a senior role, and you're doing a great job, one would imagine, but what you often don't realise is that by being a non-exec or serving on another board, what you learn there then feeds back into your current career. So those that are in senior exec roles or senior roles more generally are more productive, they generally higher performing, they generally earn more, and they get more promotions and better networks if they've also got non-exec roles feeding into that. Right. What you learn, what you gain, the leadership experience that you gain, it just all works very well together. So it's super important to recognise that and to start early, I would say, as early as you can.
Right. So one question, because we've been saying Ned, so I just want you to explain very briefly, because we're going to cover it on the call when we do the webinar on the 1st of October at 1 o'clock, is what is Ned?
So, as a non-exec director, it's quite different to being an executive director in a senior leadership role. You are generally employed on a sort of more ad hoc or part-time basis. You are your role is to provide the governance that keeps an organisation on track. So it could be a not-for-profit. A lot of people do start in a trustee kind of role, but trustee is still a non-exec director, or you might go straight into a smaller business or a larger organisation. But either way, you sit on the board and you are there to guide the executive team. If you like, you're there as a mentor, a sounding board, a critical friend. As we all know, when you're in a senior role in an organisation, as an executive, a leader, it's very easy to get caught up in the day-to-day, and sometimes maybe lose sight of the end goal and the strategy. So the board is there to keep everybody on track and to ensure that the organisation is performing to the max, and that from an ethical perspective as well, is totally on track. It's really about protecting the organisation and protecting the executive team. And actually, I've worked with clients who said that they've been working as a NED in a startup really closely with the founder. They're actually providing a lot of emotional support, as well as that more strategic support. So there's lots of different ways that you can add value as a non-exec. But effectively, you're bringing your experience and the knowledge that you already have to support that organisation and to support that executive team in the best way possible. So it's enabling organisations to grow and be well run, really. Rather than running the organisation, you're ensuring that it's well run. So it's definitely a step back from the day-to-day. You're not implementing, but you are guiding and steering the leadership team.
I love that. I definitely learned that sitting on a pretty big trustee board. And I still sit on a board now. And I think it's a really important it's really important for people to understand that, because sometimes I think what happens is, well, I've been a trustee, but I don't know if I could sit as a non-executive director, not recognizing they already are a non-executive director. So that's a great point. So why, if there was one reason why anybody should join this, what would be your main reason?
I'm going to probably go with two, actually,
Madeline.
It's okay. Number one,
renegade. It's okay. Renegade. Not a problem.
Go on, please. Number one, to really understand the NED role and what it's all about and what it really means. And within that as well, you have to remember that as a non-exec, it sounds all fun and great. You also do have, I need to mention this, responsibility. You have direct responsibility, and that's something to take quite seriously for the performance of the organisation. But yeah, understanding the NED role, number one. And number two, understanding how to get a NED role. So within that, part and parcel of that is your CV, your LinkedIn, your application, your interview, how best to work with headhunters. So number one, what's the role? What's it all about? What's really going on here? Number two, how does that work with me, and how can I move forward in my NED career? So whether to launch your portfolio or to expand your portfolio, it's just full of loads of information, very, very practical. And I know we're going to have a Q&A at the end, aren't we, Madeline, as well? And obviously you've got loads of experience in this space too, so we'll be running that together too.
Definitely. I think the most important thing is getting your questions answered. I think you're absolutely right. Like, if you don't, it's all right. It sounds like it's a real buzzword, isn't it? Let's get a NED role. But what does that mean? And what does that look like? And how do you do one? And how do you have to show up online and in your work and in your documentation, is what I'm hearing you say, in order for you to be able to be taken as a serious candidate. And then also maybe there's experience you've already got that you've not capitalized on. So we're going to hear all about how you can do that. And so this is why it's so important that you join us on the 1st of October at 1 p.m. It's still BST. It's going to change at the end of October, isn't it? But it's still BST, so British summertime. And Victoria and I will be on. Victoria will be sharing all of her years of experience and knowledge about NED roles, non-executive director roles, how to get them, what you need to have in place, what the role actually is. That's really important, because it can sound great, but what does it mean? Because there is some work to do. You don't do it for nothing. And I've put in the chat for you the link. If you haven't been able to go there, go to my site, MadelineMcQueen.com, scroll all the way down to events, and then you can literally click the link, which will take you straight to our Zoom webinar registration. It is just £56, including VAT, literally cheap at half the price. And but the knowledge that you will gain on this hour of time with myself and Victoria's deep knowledge on this, and then a 15-minute Q&A after that hour is going to make a really big difference for you getting your NED role. So join us on the 3rd. It's not the 3rd, it's the 1st. I have so many things I can't tell you. Next week, it's this. I'm speaking for 2 different things. I'm judging. Oh, it's wild. But definitely join us, because you can't know if you don't seek out the knowledge. You can't know what to do, how to do it, and certainly you can't capitalize on these opportunities without really knowing what you're going into, what it means, and how you need to operate in order for you to be able to secure a non-executive director role. Victoria, thank you so much for being here and for sharing and for doing this session with me. Thank you for what's coming. I'm super excited. I know I'm going to learn stuff, even though I have sat on boards, because there is always something to learn. And I know you've got 15 years of experience that's going to make a really big difference for me and all the people who jump onto this call. Thank you for being here, Elaine. Yeah, so details are in the chat. Book yourself on, and we'd love to see you. Victoria, any final parting words from you?
I'm really looking forward to it, Madeline. So yeah, I'll see you again next week.
All right, see you all next week.
Thank you.
Have a great one. Bye.
Bye.